Couples face challenges every day. Now that same-sex marriage is legal in the United States, this couple has one less obstacle to worry about.
We still have a lot of ways to go, but it's a step.
Micah and Jessica Enlow just celebrated their first anniversary together last month. Same-sex marriage doesn't seem like a big deal these days. The Enlows know that wasn't always the case. In fact, the Iowa Supreme Court's 2009 legislation of same-sex marriage is considered a milestone for LGBT civil rights, and one of the catalysts for legalization nationwide. The case was Varnum versus Bryan. 6 Iowa couples sued for the right to get married. It was here at the Judicial Branch building 7 years ago when the Supreme Court ruled that limiting marriage to the opposite sex was unconstitutional. That was a unanimous decision.
There was no question on what the Constitution required in that particular case. So what this means for folks is that we have the rule of law, we have it enforced fairly, we have it enforced equally, and that benefits everybody in our state, including the LGBT community.
No matter who you love, you shall be able to marry. Everyone deserves the right to be able to marry.
The ruling wasn't universally popular in Iowa, but no one expected the ensuing backlash. Conservative groups went on the warpath in 2010, actively campaigning to remove the judges responsible. As a result, all 3 of the Supreme Court judges up for retention votes that year lost their jobs.
Frankly, I think the process was hijacked. It was taken advantage of by folks who disagreed with that ruling. And people can fairly disagree if they like with that ruling, but that's not what the purpose of a retention election is.
Now 6 years later, 3 more judges face a retention vote. Chief Mark Cady, Daryl Hecht, and Brent Apple signed on to the 2009 ruling approving same-sex marriage, a fact that one group of Iowans hasn't forgotten. And they're hoping Iowa voters haven't either. Common Sense Iowa wants Cady, Hecht, and Apple to join their fellow justices on the unemployment line. We reached out to the group for comment. They referred us to a local minister. Pastor Edward Matthews of Bible Baptist Church in Ottumwa did speak to us. He approves of Common Sense Iowa's efforts, but he isn't a member of the group.
As a pastor, we believe that God ordained marriage between a man and a woman, and that's His plan for mankind, and so that's why we disagree with the decision that the courts have made.
Despite Common Sense Iowa's efforts, most observers think the furor over the ruling has died down and the judges will keep their jobs. Cook thinks Iowans will actually take a common sense approach and follow the Bar Association recommendation.
What the Bar Association does then every 2 years is surveys its members and asks them to rate the judges.
The ratings are based on competence, not politics, and because of that, all 3 received high marks. Even so, it will be up to voters on Tuesday to decide if the 3 will stay on the bench. Reporting in Ottumwa, Beth Walden, KTVO News.